priority right now is bringing people home.
A morning briefing on the Texas flood disaster turning tense after reporters tried to ask questions about response times and who was in charge.
This afternoon, the governor toured the damage, then tried to turn the focus to the priority on the search effort still underway.
We have to find every single person who's missing.
Governor Abbott just announced a staggering 161 people are still missing or unaccounted for, in addition to at least 110 who have already lost their lives. Good evening, everybody. I'm Casey Stiegel.
I'm Heather Hayes. That is far beyond any previous estimate of the missing, and the governor warned that number is likely to go up once again. Rescue crews continue to search for victims. Power is beginning to be restored to those along the Guadalupe River.
Governor Abbott touring Kerr County area this afternoon, traveling by Black Hawk helicopter, where he got a first-hand look at the flooded and damaged areas all across that region.
Texas will not stop until we finish the job. We will not stop until we identify, recover every single body. We'll not stop until every road is rebuilt, every inch of debris is removed. Will not stop, because we are a state that cares about our people, cares about our communities, and we'll be with them every step of the way.
Local officials have been facing scrutiny now over why camps were not altered sooner or alerted sooner or evacuated ahead of the floods. Flash flood warnings were issued just after 1 a.m. That was Friday morning, but officials say they were not notified that the Guadalupe River was rapidly rising until around 4 in the morning. This afternoon, the governor addressed questions of blame.
You ask, I'm going to use your words, who's to blame? Know this. That's the word choice of losers. Let me explain one thing about Texas, and that is Texas, every square inch of our state cares about football. You could be in Hunt, Texas, Huntsville, Texas, Houston, Texas, any size community, they care about football. High school, Friday night lights, college football, or pro. And know this, every football team makes mistakes. The losing teams are the ones that try to point out who's to blame. The championship teams are the ones that say, don't worry about it, man, we got this. We're going to make sure that we go score again, that we're going to win this game. The way winners talk is not to point fingers. They talk about solutions.
Governor Abbott also said that helping areas recover will be on the agenda when lawmakers convene for a special legislative session in 2 weeks. All over the flood disaster zone, volunteers rolling up their sleeves to help with the recovery.
And Fox 4's Alex Boyer talked with a group of veterans who pitched in to help. Alex now joins us live. Alex.
Hi guys, and I'm standing in what is part of Ingram City Park, and you can see it backs up to the Guadalupe River there. That's the river there in the distance, but you can really see the debris field that's left behind now that the water has receded. Sadly, this is the area, I'm told, where many of the bodies were found early on. Today, the search effort continues, and many military veterans are donating their time and expertise to this cause. Help is in motion. Bulldozers are moving up and down the banks of the Guadalupe River in the city of Ingram, clearing away widespread debris left behind by the Independence Day flood.
As a combat veteran, this is what we're built for, and so it's second nature to me. State
Representative Josie Garcia, who represents parts of San Antonio, is a U.S. Air Force veteran. She helped to mobilize what she calls a military-style operation in less than 24 hours. Mario Urrutia, a former U.S. Army officer, is the man in charge.
Currently, what we're doing is we're just sifting through inch by inch along the riverbank.
Tell me what struck you, Mario, as someone who's been in the military, who's responded to high stressful scenarios. What's this been like for you?
Personally, you only get through this through the good grace of God. I mean, all the military experience, all of the, first responder, search and rescue experience, of course that helps. But, I mean, we're natural, we're human. We experience emotions. I'm a father myself, and, you hear the stories of these lost young children, displaced families, entire families, an entire community just washed away. Yeah, you just have a heart for them.
And watching over these hardworking volunteers is rookie EMT Joyce Smith.
And this is for an adult and pediatric.
She drove in from the tiny community of Delhi, where she works as a volunteer firefighter to help. You know, you're young in your career and you're getting tested in a big way here. What has it been like for you? Does it feel like this is what you've been called to do?
Yes, exactly. I feel like I needed to come out here.
What has it been like for you walking along the banks of the Guadalupe River and seeing just the devastation and kind of the need out here?
It's definitely been emotional. I'm glad we're out here to see it and just to be here rather than anybody else.
And of course, folks here thankful to all the volunteers. As we come back out here live, you can see a piece of an RV just scattered about the debris here. No telling where it came from. Meanwhile, I can tell you that just moments ago, we saw several volunteers on horseback now starting to go through this area as they continue to do that trek down this 10-mile stretch. I asked one of the volunteers how long they'll be out here. They say as long as there is sunlight. Back to you.
Well, and adding to that, Alex, the volunteers have said they're going to be out there as many days and weeks as it takes to get the job done, to find all these folks. But then also, I mean, looking at the debris that's all around you, this is going to take a while to get this area recovered.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, Heather. You know, when I was talking with one of the volunteers that you heard from earlier, you know, he was commenting that these debris piles, you may be able to see when they're way in the distance, they're about 10 feet high, and there are several dozens of these piles that are now, you know, popping up, for lack of a better term, because those bulldozers are able to get all of this debris and put them into these large piles, which is why the representative I spoke to, Representative Josie Garcia, she says now the next step really is to mobilize those big dump trucks that can then get in here when it's not too muddy and begin to load up that debris and get it out of here. And to your point, this is just one small section of that 10-mile stretch of the river, which of course is just the area that this particular group is tackling.
A lot of logistics that have to be worked out. I'm just thinking of all of the people that have to figure out where the equipment is and the volunteers are. So just a massive operation underway. Fox 4's Alex Boyer, thanks to you and your photographer for being on the ground there. Coverage looking great, and thanks for keeping us posted. Hunt, which is just west of Kerrville, we've been talking about, is one of the hardest hit communities, without a doubt, in Central Texas.
Right, and so we've heard from our reporters and from other folks on the ground that getting to that area is extremely difficult, but David Santendry was there and has a look at some of the damage.
Unfortunately, it is an all too common scene right now in Hunt, Texas, to see these mounds of debris just stacked up every which way you look. Right here is the middle of a community park where people are typically enjoying a beautiful afternoon. Maybe kids are playing, but right now the community is just rattled, not knowing what to do as this massive process begins of just cleaning up this community, so devastated along the Guadalupe River. Again, Hunt, Texas, where Camp Mystic is at. We've been reporting on Camp Mystic where so many girls lost their lives and some are still missing. Today I spoke with a gentleman, 69 years old, living just a few doors down from the camp, and he and his wife, 69 years old, again had to take cover in the attic of his garage when the waters were coming in. And their house about 20, 30 feet above the river levels. And the water kept coming up to the attic area where they were at, said it got 4 to 5 feet away from him, but thankfully they were able to survive. His house, not so much. He says they're going to have to tear it down. One of many stories we are gathering out here in Hunt. We're also talking with cleanup crews, some with organized efforts coming in, not just from Central Texas, but from North Texas, all over the Lone Star State. We'll have more for you later tonight, but for now, reporting in Hunt, David Santendry, Fox News.
David Santendry, thank you for that report. Moving further east from where David was, over in Center Point, law enforcement officers and volunteers have joined forces to try and locate missing people. Fox 4's Peyton May has the latest on the devastation from Center Point.
Here in Center Point, it's hard to imagine how high the waters of the Guadalupe River rose during flash flooding. You could tell by the damages. There's trees snapped 5 feet above me, 10 feet above that. This whole area is really a mess of trees and debris. And on the riverbank of the Guadalupe, the search for those who are missing is ongoing.
It's nonstop urgency in Kerr County. Military searches in the sky, volunteers and first responders on the ground, and dive teams in the waters. The small town of just a few thousand residents is now at the center of a search mission that's brought teams from across the nation.
We came down here just because, this is what we would want somebody to do for us if we had to feel this tragedy.
Jacqueline Horton and Ariel Benavides came from San Antonio after a friend reached out for extra help.
Because he's current military, and he was like, hey, I'm going up to Comfort tomorrow, anybody wants to come, and I was like, absolutely, sign me up.
A construction company out of San Antonio sent Shane Johnson, Ricardo Barbosa, and a crew of their colleagues.
Our company's about community and helping the community, and we just want to come out and see what we can do.
We're going to clean everything. We're going to clean debris. We're going to search RVs, search vehicles, everything that we can to help.
They're working hand in hand with first responders and say they were briefed on the difficulty of the task they're doing.
Expect the worst, but hoping for the best.
It's a reality no one could have imagined, searching miles of water for victims, many of them children, who have been missing for multiple days.
At the end of the day, we want to find people and we want to find them alive, but we know the chances are we're going to help somebody say goodbye, unfortunately.
We're doing this for the survivors just as much as we are the victims, because they need to keep going. They need to start their healing process, and in order for them to start that, we've got to start.
Search teams from all across the state and tons of different departments are prepared to stay as long as necessary. Reporting in Center Point, Peyton May, Fox 4 News.
And be sure to stay with Fox 4 for the latest on the Texas flood disaster. We will continue to bring you the latest on air and online. We are always on fox4news.com and on the Fox Local app.